everybody, it's Josie here. I'm going to be doing my TBR for the month of April. So I've picked, I think, quite an ambitious TBR, mainly because I've got some big books in there. And these are only the books that I really want to get to. And then I have some others that I also really want to get to if I can fit them around those books. And yes, I have no life and all I do is read. And I'm kind of catching my, before I start, I just got a gush. I'm catching my wristband in the camera. So I went to go see Taylor Jenkins Reid last night. I was so excited. It's made my life. It's my birthday in a couple of days, and that was kind of one of my treats to myself for my birthday. And I'm wearing my wristband. So she was here to talk about Daisy Jones and the Six, which is her new book. And if you haven't read it yet, read it. I loved it. It's amazing. I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo as well. And she is an incredibly wonderful, inspiring woman. And if you get the chance to hear her speak, absolutely go see her. And she signed my book, and I was very happy. So I'm gonna wear this until it falls off my hand. So you know. So after that kind of gushy intro, let's go through the books that I'm gonna be reading in April. The first one is this really tiny, small book. It is The Passage. So it's by Justin Cronin. I should remember who it was by. And also it has a gorgeous shiny cover. Clearly I'm distracted by anything shiny. This book has been described as a modern kind of vampire story. So I don't want to know too much about it. I don't like knowing too much about these kinds of books when I go into them. But if you read the back, it talks about, it focuses on this girl who's the main character, but it also talks about death row, about FBI agents, about a chase. So, and a kind of dystopian element as well, I believe. So it sounds really interesting. I love anything vampire. I thought kind of a new modern take on vampire would be interesting. However, this is literally like 900 and something pages long. So it is a big, hefty book. And the thing is, I don't mind reading big books if they're good. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be good. I think it's either going to be one of these things where I'm going to read the whole thing, I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to love it, and I'm going to talk about how amazing it is, or I'm going to DNF it, because at 1,000 pages, if you're not enjoying it, it's just no point in reading that many pages and put yourself through that much torture. So high hopes, but yeah, a big one. So because that one, that wasn't big enough, I thought I needed another sort of big book for the month. So I have picked The Circle by Sarah Elfgren. Now this book has been translated from Swedish, and this is the first book in a trilogy. And it is basically about teenage witches and witchcraft. And I am trash for anything like that. I adore witches and vampires are like my two favorite things in fantasy. And The Craft is just one of my all-time favorite films. Love Charmed, so all of that just appeals to me. But this book, again, this book is very long. This is 590 odd pages long. And it's also the first in the trilogy, and I believe all of them are quite long. And this one I was lucky enough to pick up in a charity shop for like 50p. So I want to get to this, I want to read it, see if I enjoy it, and if I do, I can then, get the others. But yeah, another biggie, but high hopes for that as well. Then the next one is this one over here, A Close and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. I read A Long Way to a Small and Angry Planet a couple of months ago, and I adored it. So I am very much at the moment on a sci-fi dystopian kind of horror binge, fantasy, and I loved that book so much. But what I loved about the Becky Chambers book is that she really focuses on the characters and the relationships, and that's kind of what I love when I'm reading sci-fi and fantasy and dystopian. So this one, I won't talk too much in the plot, but this basically follows two of the characters that we were introduced to in the first book. So you've got, particularly one that I'm interested in following is an AI character called Loveless. And it sort of follows that character and another character that we were introduced to. So I believe you can read these books independently. I have all three of them, so this is the second one, and I am reading them all and reading them in order, because yeah, you were introduced to the characters, so I kind of want to carry on with the story. But I have been told you can read them out of order. My preference is just to read them as they were. So really looking forward to this one because I adored the first one, so I don't think I'm going to be disappointed. Then I thought I needed a bit of an antidote from all of the sci-fi and kind of fantasy. So I decided animals was a good one. So the back of this book says, a filthy funny story of friendship, love, and animal instinct. And it's basically about these two women and their kind of relationship, female relationships, naughty, fun, kind of contemporary. Sounds like it's going to be fun, and a great read. And I love the cover of this book. I love the cover photo. So I thought it would be a great antidote to all of that. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. And the next one is this one over here. It's Under My Skin by, so it still says James Dawson, but this is by Juno Dawson. So this is a very, very early iteration of this book where Juno was still writing under the name James. But basically what this book is about. So it says that the main character, Sally, she walks into a tattoo parlor one day, and there she's offered kind of that she can have everything she's ever desired, you know, the boy she wants, the life she wants, but at a very high price. And I think that sounds really interesting. I like that premise. Also, it's about tattoos, and I really like tattoos. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. I read Gilda Dawson's other book, Clean, which I really, really enjoyed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one as well. Then the next one is this one over here, Veronica by Mary Gateskill. So this has been sitting on my shelf for ages, and I keep wanting to get to it, and this month it's gonna happen. It is a book set in the 1980s, and it's about female friendship and the complexities and the possible toxicity and kind of the intricacies of female friendship. I believe there's also queer romance in this one, or queer relationship, so I'm looking forward to that. And I think that whole scene, sort of the 1980s New York, kind of the modeling scene, the celebrity scene, so I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really into, I'm just busy watching the TV program Pose at the moment. So I read the book, The House of Impossible Beauties, last year, and I adored it. It made me sob. It was beautiful. And Pose to me is, although they didn't really say it in the first episode, but it's very much a serialization of that book, a TV show created on the premise of the book. And it's all about kind of the houses and sort of the drag scene in the 1980s, and it's beautiful and it's glamorous. So I'm kind of into that era at the moment and that whole vibe. So I think this will kind of gel nicely with that. Then the next one, this book, and I don't, yeah. So I don't know, I think I heard another YouTuber talk about it and I just thought it sounded fascinating. I thought, fuck it, I'm picking it up. So this is The Girl in 6E. What this is about is the main character is a cam girl. So she's sort of a sex cam girl, but she doesn't leave her apartment, and she hasn't left her apartment in years because apparently last time she was out in the world, she killed people. And I'm not spoiling that because it says in the book, and she hasn't killed anyone for years. And then something happens which forces her to leave her apartment, and God help us all. So it sounds really interesting. It sounds like it could be a really great thriller. It just sounds a bit weird. I like weird. And it sounds like something I haven't read before. So again, all tick, 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 good things in my book. Yes, I'm looking forward to this and kind of seeing what my thoughts are on it. Then the next one, and this is my classic for the month. So it's The Haunting of Hill House. And yes, I know I have not read this. Where have I been living? So I thought I'd pick quite a short classic, seeing as some of the other books are very long. And I don't know if I have to really talk about, I think I'm probably the only person that hasn't read this or hasn't watched as it's wonderfully advertised on the version that I have, the Netflix series. But it's about basically a group of people, and they go to this house, and kind of weird and wonderful things start to happen. And it's kind of a trope that I really love. I remember reading, I think one of the classics I read last year was And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. And it's that same premise where you've got a bunch of people together in a house, and then in that one, it's not necessarily supernatural, but it's all things start to happen, people start to die. So yeah, I weirdly like that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to finally reading this book. And then the last book that I have on my sort of set TBR is this one over here, is The Gilda Stories by Joelle Gomez. This is very much a sort of a lesbian classic. This came out in 1991, and it's such a wonderful, specific genre, and it feels like it was written for me. And if there's witches in it, it is the perfect book. So basically, it starts off in 1850 in Louisiana, and you have Gilda, who is a slave, and she escapes slavery, and she ends up in a brothel, but then she's turned into a vampire by two women. And you've basically got lesbian, person of color, vampires. It sounds incredible. It just, yeah, from everything that I've read, anybody that's ever read this book, they have said it's incredible. And yeah, it's really kind of, like I said, throw in a few witches and it's like the book I wish I'd written. So I'm really, really looking forward to reading this, and hopefully I'll love it. I feel like I'm going to love it. I love Poppy Z. Brite and I love Anne Rice, so I'm kind of thinking it might be that, but only queer, which could only be a good thing. So yes, so that is my gigantic, long, I think, TBR. And then there's a couple of other books that I've got coming and some new releases. So we'll see how I go. I'll obviously do reviews and wrap-ups throughout the month. And yeah, so thank you for listening to me today. I will speak to you all again soon. Bye-bye.